Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Never heard of it. Must be a local custom. New Orleanians love to party.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Saint-Caux means?
No. Sounds French, though.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I'd rather not hear about your sex life, Knight.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Wasn't she a big voodoo queen before the Civil War?
That's right.
Well, you've just heard everything I know about her.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope, none right now.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I need you to look up a Madame Casino.
Madame Casino? Is she related to the murders the same way your friend Molly Aghetti was?
Grace, Casino's at least 70.
As if that makes a difference to you. Okay, I'll see what I can find. Well, it's about closing time.
So it is. Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gabriel. And try not to dream, okay? I'm so glad you could join us today. I've got messages when you want them. I also checked out Casino. There are multiple listings in the white pages. I got the page, but you'll have to figure out the right one.
Great. Thanks.
Now, are you gonna tell me what happened yesterday with Molly Aghetti, or is it just too embarrassing? Don't tell me you actually got to see her.
All the stars out tonight.
Gabriel, you don't seriously think she's interested. She can have any man in the city. You know, men with bank accounts.
You underestimate the Knight family's tragic poet samurai appeal. When Daddy married Mom, she was the hottest catch in town.
I always suspected there was something fishy in your family tree. But seriously, I think you should be careful.
Meow, Grace.
I'm serious. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about this.
It's called jealousy, my dear. And you're right, you should be jealous of Molly Aghetti. As should every woman on this planet.
I just... never mind. I'll just fix these books. Your life is in your own slippery little hands.
The point is to get it into somebody else's hands. And soon.
Today's newspaper is on the counter. Times dated June 20th, 1993. Gabriel scans over an uninteresting front page. Under the cultural events section, there's a notice about a lecture on African religions. The lecture is at Tulane University. Gabriel's horoscope for the day. An evil eye is upon you. Change your course before it's too late.
Lighten up. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Your pal Mosley called. He left a message that they are interrogating a suspect this morning, and you might want to be there.
Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
The phone is cheap, but functional.
Hello?
Is this the Casino residence?
Yes. What can I do for you?
Do you or does anyone in your family patronize the Dixieland drugstore?
I'm a busy man. What are you selling?
Nothing.
Good. Goodbye.
Hi, Casino residence.
Hi. I was wondering if you could help me.
Yeah?
A woman in the Dixieland drugstore dropped her purse today, and the name Casino was inside it.
Dixieland Drugstore? Never heard of it. Sorry.
Hello?
Hello, I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Casino residents, may I help you?
Hi. You've won a customer raffle at the Dixieland drugstore.
No soliciting, please.
Yes?
Hello, I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Hush, Castro. I told you I don't know what you're talking about.
Somewhere there's a Norlands phone book missing one of its C pages.
Governor's Animal Clinic. This is Melissa.
Do you have a Madame Casino as a client?
Madam Casino? Sure, I know her. She's not here right now, though.
Really? She told me she'd be there. Would you happen to have her address by any chance?
Yes, but I'm not sure I should give it out. Who are you again?
I'm worried about Castro. He's missed 3 dance lessons.
Castro? Her little doggy? Oh, he's so sweet. Well, I guess if you know Castro, it's okay. Her address is 345 Dauphine.
Thanks. I'll be back later.
Have fun.
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow. This is great.
Yeah, just don't, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and, good luck.
Thanks again for that pattern.
No problem.
The booth is a colorful melange. It announces the owner as Madame Lorelei and gives prices for palm readings, $20, crystal ball gazing, $15, and birth charts, $50. Madame Lorelei lounges at the booth, fondling her snake.
Madame Lorelei, is it?
What can I do for you, handsome?
How's business?
How's business? I have no time for such dull conversation, darling.
That's a nice snake you have there.
Oh, I could say the same of you.
Well, I know where I got mine. Where'd you get yours?
That's personal.
I'd really like to know more about that snake.
Oh, sorry, sweetie, but I don't discuss Elvis with anyone.
How about a reading?
The prices are listed on the sign.
They seem a little steep.
Well, I sometimes do my intimate friends for nothing, but I am a businesswoman.
I'm sure you are. Oh, nothing.
Well, then move aside, sweetie, but stay where I can look at you, okay?
Madame Lorelei seems less approachable when she's behind that booth.
Come on, boys, hoopla!
I'm looking.
Gabriel leers at the dancer, but she seems to want a more overt demonstration of his appreciation.
Not a bad idea. Baby, I love the way you move.
Madame Lorelei winks knowingly at Gabriel and twitches her hips.
Yep, she wants me.
Thanks, boys.
It's a silken veil. Gabriel examines the veil with the magnifying glass. The fortune teller's veil is studded with sequins. The sequins look a little strange. Why, it's a snake scale. There's a snake scale caught on the veil. Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to remove the snake scale from the veil. The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain.
Madame Lorelei, is it?
What can I do for you, handsome?
Could you just do a short reading for an intimate friend?
Darling, you toy with me. If I thought you were serious, but no, I must stay firm.
I think this veil belongs to you.
Oh, my veil! I'm always losing those things. You have no idea. Well, darling, you're such a sweetie to return a lady's delicates, and so handsome as well.
Well,
And since you have such a clear interest in fortune-telling, let me see your hands. They look so strong. Perhaps they will make both our fortunes clear, no?
I wish something would.
Strong, yes, and yet so delicate and flexible.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, good. I see a mysterious woman in your immediate future.
Madame Lorelei winks at Gabriel knowingly.
She is a dangerous one, dark and beautiful. Oh, I see the road of your life forking, and very soon.
The blood drains from Madame Lorelei's face in an instant. Sweat beads on her upper lip.
Are you okay?
There are forces. Oh, God. Beware. Beware.
What is it about me lately?
It looks like the lecture is just starting.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa, but the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading, under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems Voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of the subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits, instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems have. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all these spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. One tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens, the bodies of the sick. Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa. This is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god, Ezuli, the mistress of love, Papanibo, or Gede, the lord of death, Awe, the spirit of water, Legba, spirit of the crossroads, and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called Houndfors. Their priests, Houngan or Bokors, their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a Voodoo Houndfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a Poto Meton. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a Bokor and a Mama Loa, or head priestess. The use of totems, or animal masks and markings, was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves included the ritual gourd, or asan, the ritual knife, or kubasa,
That knife gives me the chills.
the ritual whip, or fouetcache, and the ritual coffin, or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa for specific magical rituals. The Mama Loa is the most powerful figure in any voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the Bokor knows his power is limited. The Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She goes out of her house at night, sees many things, and tries to get butterflies. And at night again, she sees other things, including fireflies.
Firelight. Gabriel?
What? Can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No! Let me out! Help!
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Dr. Hartridge is sharp-eyed and even sharper-tongued. When he condescends to look at Gabriel at all, it is with a dismissive glare.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you've already interrupted and slept through my lecture, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treat voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. Do you know what Capri Sancour means?
Capri Sancour? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, bulls, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
What was that translation for Capri Sancour again?
It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting, from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Do you know anything about veves?
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about Damballa.
Damballa is one of the major Rada Loa, also known as Damballa Wedo. He is an ancient Dahomean rain god, often represented as a large boa constrictor. Damballa is the most powerful and most violent of the Rada Loa. The Rada Loa are typically benevolent, as opposed, say, to the Patro Loa. He is still worshipped heavily in Haiti, and when voodoo first started in New Orleans, the early conclaves were reportedly based on the worship of the great zombie, the great serpent Damballa.
Tell me more about Damballa.
I have extensive courses in the Loa running next semester. Perhaps you should take one of those, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about Ogun Badagry.
Ogun Badagry is one of the Patro Loa. The Patro Loa are much more violent than the Rada Loa. Some people believe the Patro Loa originated in Haiti, but I have found some evidence that the Patro Loa were African as well, though worshipped only by a small voodoo tribe, and a very bloody one.
Tell me more about Ogun Badagry.
He is a chief nasty, Mr. Knight. He is the spirit of war and destruction.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight. I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
Oh, no.
Fine.
I'd really like to know more about you.
There have been several articles written about me, Mr. Knight, as well as blurbs on my book jackets. If you want a biography, read.
Your lecture was terrific.
Oh, you think so? You were snoring so loud I didn't think you'd heard it.
You must travel a lot.
Yes, to Africa mainly.
I'm very interested in voodoo myself right now.
How nice for you.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible, if that's what the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Ezuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Ezuli is the gentlest of Loire, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Houngan tremble before possession by one of the more violent Loire, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that Loire will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
What was that translation for Caprice Encore again?
It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
The reconstructed Veve was done for Gabriel by a technical artist.
Can you tell me anything about this?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back. Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating Veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself.
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No. You're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this Veve is authentic?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm undercover. You can contact me at St. George's Bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this, if you don't mind.
Is there anything you can tell me about the voodoo aspects of this photograph?
This is a serious voodoo ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph, except for the corpse, of course, but the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia, it reminds me of certain black voodoo practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks. Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my lecture hall.
Do you know anything about Veves?
I told you I would research it, Mr. Knight. When I have anything concrete, I'll let you know.
Tell me what you mean by black voodoo.
Well, like any religion, the beliefs can tend toward positive or negative ends, can be used for good or evil. Christianity, for example, has its doppelganger, Satanism. Anytime you attempt to set up an icon to explain evil, you invite some warped mind to worship it. The same is true of voodoo. There are those who are drawn by and desire personal power from the darker, bloodier Loa.
Can you give me an example of black voodoo?
All right. There is a very secret, very dark cult in Haiti called the Cult des Morts, Cult of the Dead. Their primary Loa is Papa Nebo, Loa of the cemetery. They practice a particularly disgusting form of necromancy, magic using the dead. They dig up corpses and use their decaying bodies for various spells and curses.
Can you give me another example of black voodoo?
In tribal Africa, there were and still are black bokors, shaman bent toward the dark, who not only practice necromancy, but also human sacrifice.
Is there anything else you can tell me about black voodoo?
Only that if it's being practiced in this city, none of us are safe.
I'll be going.
Oh, do keep in touch.
A drummer has decided to set up outside the police station.
Hey,
The drummer looks at Gabriel but says nothing in return.
can I bother you again, officer?
What is it this time?
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black? Voodoo? Isn't that kind of the same thing?
Actually, no.
Well, all I know about voodoo is to keep away from it. And you should too, Knight.
Can I bother you again, officer?
What is it this time?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
You! Give me back my badge! Now, Knight!
Sure. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Yeah? You borrow it again, and you're history. Now, about today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy, anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. He's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning at Jackson Square pushing coke. He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. Have you been present at the so-called voodoo rituals?
I don't know nothing. All right, I told you.
Come on now. You can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look, I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go.
Relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were in plain clothes.
Plain clothed? Like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. You tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you into the witness protection program. But you gotta earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Oh, don't make me laugh. Oh, Jesus, just let me out of here.
Oh, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
Oh, by now they know I'm here. It's different when I'm supposed to come here. Oh, if I can send a message. Yeah. Tell him I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's freaking useless. Just take him back to detaining, would you, Tony? I'll tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum. Damn the civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn, we can only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. You know, for the book, I mean. Hey, maybe you could punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction. That's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do. Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Do you know anything about veves?
What?
Veves. They're ritualistic patterns used in voodoo. You know, like those marks we found around the body.
You know what the department says about that, Knight? That voodoo stuff is faked.
Yeah, well, they're wrong. These veves...
Look, just stop worrying about those marks. I don't think they're relevant.
What do you know about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? Sounds like a put-on to me.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
You mean gumbo?
No, I mean Damballa.
Never heard of it.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
Say what?
Ogun Badagri. It's a voodoo loa.
Speak English or shut up, Knight.
Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you. Guess I'll take that as a no. What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
Sure as hell ain't going well. There sure are a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens. I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
You're as filled in as me.
Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight.
So how do you find anything in this office? It looks like a war zone in here.
Hey, I get my job done. I'm a detective, not Betty Crocker.
Well, I'll be seeing you.
Have a good one.
I should add Mosley to the hat.
It's another municipal building, but not one Gabriel has any interest in.
That window leads to Mosley's office.
If Gabriel wants to talk to Mosley, he can go in through the front door. At least the cherub is an aesthetic way of asking for donations. Flags of the world are displayed from the upper story, a promotion of universal harmony, no doubt. The chancel of St. Louis Cathedral consists of a raised dais, an altar, 2 pedestals, and a choir area. Rows of pews line each side of the nave's aisle. Curtain confessionals are a subtle, old-fashioned presence on the left of the nave. There's a knothole about the size of a quarter in the wood paneling on that wall. The knothole doesn't seem to operate that way. The knothole is part of the paneling. A meshed window provides access to the confessional from the priest's booth. There's a small shelf under the meshed window. A padded bench provides a soft place for supplicating knees.
May I help you, my child?
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it'll make you feel better.
I've had impure thoughts about a woman I met.
Impure thoughts? You mean thoughts of sexual relations?
You could say that, but worse than what you mean.
Worse? You mean extreme sexual relations?
Well, not involving animals or anything.
Oh, well. Perhaps we should just leave it at that. Pray for forgiveness and say 10 rosaries. Is there anything else?
I've had a lot of women, Father.
A lot? More than 10?
Yes, Father.
More than 20?
Yes, Father.
More than 40?
Yes, Father.
Son, I don't think this is a matter for a priest. I think you need a good therapist.
If we're counting therapists, then I'm up to at least, let's see, count the one, and this might take a while.
My son, I'm afraid my lunch break is coming on about now. Pray for forgiveness and say 20 rosaries. On second thought, when you finish the math, say that many rosaries.
Gabriel hears him leave the confessional.
I should probably add one more rosary for that while I'm at it. I've been a bad boy.
A meshed window provides access to the confessional from the priest's booth.
I've always wondered how the other half lives.
There's a box under the shelf of the priest's confessional. Inside the box, Gabriel finds a priest's collar and some oil used for blessing. Inside the box, Gabriel finds a priest's collar and some oil used for blessing. That oil is for holy purposes, not the sort of thing Gabriel would want to use it for. Inside the box.
You never know when a priest's collar will come in handy.
There's no reason to wear that at the moment.
This disguise is almost ready. I hate to say it, but I need to style my hair to be more respectable. I don't think hair gel alone is going to convince her I'm the respectable type. All right, but this is private.
Gabriel stands at the door of an old quarter residence. The neighborhood is a little shabby, but this particular building is freshly painted.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Father McLaughlin to see you.
Father McLaughlin, you say? You must be new in the parish. I'm so pleased to meet you, Father. Do come in.
Thank you, my child.
Please be seated, Father.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
The painting behind the couch is a Madonna and Child. It's a painting of a pretty young lady in old-fashioned clothes. The upholstered chair is less comfortable than it looks. A low wooden coffee table sits in front of the sofa. Madam's parlor is full of carefully dusted and polished relics of her past. It's a large antique cabinet. It's probably worth something. Madam would think Father McLaughlin was suspiciously snoopy if Gabriel did that. The plant looks healthy, despite Gabriel's vague impression that Castro makes great use of it. Castro, cute as a flea on a piece of fruit.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions, my child?
Of course not, mon père.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
People think I'm just a foolish old woman, but I know the things they do. My family's been in New Orleans since 1750, so I know more than most. Voodoo people are all over the city, in the shops, everywhere. They'll curse you like that, and most people don't even notice. Spit on your bread at the bakery. Take strands of your hair at the store when you try on clothes. Oh, you have to be so careful. But I know their ways, so I can protect myself. I know how to use the magic too, and I can counteract their evil spells.
Tell me more about voodoo in New Orleans.
It's just plain evil. It's dangerous to even discuss it.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Voodoo murders? Ha! They are nothing new to me, Father. They happen all the time. I hardly go out anymore. It's too dangerous in the streets. They can get you anywhere, you know. Even here, in this room. But I try not to let them know about me. That's the best way.
What else do you know about the voodoo murders?
Shh! They'll hear you.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
The only true New Orleans are of French origin, you know. My family were among the original settlers of New Orleans. They came here from France. The Creole society used to be so gay in New Orleans. Now it barely hangs on by its fingernails.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes, they're evil creatures. Did you know that evil people can send them into your dreams? They can. That's why I never sleep.
Right, thanks. Do you know anything else about snakes?
It would be bad luck to talk about that anymore.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
Oh, St. John's Eve, mais oui. I used to love the St. John's Eve Mass at St. Louis Cathedral. Of course, it is also a night of great wickedness, worse than All Hallows Eve. They will corrupt anything, Father.
They? They who?
Oh, you know.
What else can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I don't think I should say any more about that.
Do you have any idea what Caprice encore means?
Maybe. I know. I bet you do not know, Father, n'est-ce pas?
It means goat without horns.
Father, you surprised me. You do know what it means. You know what they mean by goat without horns, don't you? A human being. That's right. Slit your throat, cut out your heart. Pure evil murder.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, her. I could tell you about her. Voodoo Queen? Ah! My great-grandmother was an acolyte of Marie Laveau. She knows the truth about her.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, Father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about Veves?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Oh, yes, Father. It is the wickedest kind. The kind they practice here in New Orleans.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about human sacrifice here in New Orleans?
Well, my great-grandmother could tell stories. She saw it. People say that sort of thing wasn't done in New Orleans. But the real voodoo queens did it. Oh, yes.
Can you tell me anything else about human sacrifice?
What is to tell? They cut your heart out.
Tell me about yourself.
Me? I am Creole. My family has been in New Orleans for over 200 years. Real New Orleanians are French, you see. These days, the city is overrun with people with no heritage at all. No offense, Father, but it's true. But the French, naturellement, will always be the true blood of New Orleans.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, Father, I don't know what else to say.
It's so nice of you to invite me in.
But no, mon père. I am always happy to see one of the good fathers.
Do you find the weather to your liking?
It's terribly humid. I only go out in the morning and the evening.
What a delightful little dog you have.
Ah, yes, Castro is my boon companion.
Aren't you a member of the Creole Grand Arms?
Why, yes. We do much charitable work in the community, you know.
Have you been attending Mass regularly, my child?
Oh, yes, Father. I attend Mass every morning. Many don't these days, you know.
You're dedicated, madam. Who are the real voodoo queens?
Well, my great-grandmother told me that Lavaux was just a front, a flamboyant decoy. She distracted authorities from the real voodoo queen of New Orleans. It's been the same one for almost 200 years. She's head of a secret voodoo enfant. That's what they call their temples, you know. It's so secret, most of the voodoo people in the city don't even know about it. The real voodoo queen controlled Lavaux, gave her a little bit of power, and used her like a puppet.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound for.
Well, I've never seen it. I wouldn't go near it if you paid me. But it's here in New Orleans, I guarantee it. I hear their drums at night, oh yes. That's why I'm so ill, I tell you, those drums. But we shouldn't talk about it. They'll hear us. It's the devil's work that happens there, I can tell you. I'll show you something secret. You mustn't tell anyone, Father.
I swear on my collar.
Here it is, mon père. A true object of evil if ever there was one.
It radiates something, all right.
It belonged to my great-grandmother. She told my mother that it was a token to gain entrance to the real voodoo ceremonies.
You don't say.
To tell you the truth, I've always felt nervous about having it in the house. You know, evil influence and all.
I can see how you would, yes.
And yet, I could never part with it. It's been in the family for generations. Would you bless it for me, Father? I feel strange asking such a thing of you, but surely you understand.
Bless this bracelet of a snake, even though its vibes aren't great. Let it do nobody harm when they wear it on their arm. Voodoo spirits, go away. Don't come back another day. And now let us pray.
It's a bracelet in the shape of a snake. Gabriel has a thought about the clay.
Bless, oh bless this circlet of silver. Take the curse, oh take it, Wilbur.
A lovely blessing, mon père.
Yes, I think it made a lasting impression. Here you go.
I feel so much better now.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound for.
I told you we shouldn't talk about it.
Is there anything else you can remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, my great-grandmother said the real voodoo queen was the most beautiful woman on earth. She had the most incredible copper-colored skin.
Is there anything else you can remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, they're all brides of Satan. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
An old table lamp with a fringe shade gives off what little light there is in the parlor. Madam finds comfort in these iconic images, it seems. The sofa is velvet, and it is wearing nearly as much of Madame Cazeneux's face powder as Madame is herself. The tea service has been polished recently. Madame uses it with her Creole sisters, perhaps. If Madame wants to serve tea, she'll do the pouring. There's an old-fashioned jewelry box on the coffee table. Father McLaughlin would never steal from one of his flock.
Au revoir, madame.
Adieu, mon père.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this.
Odd-looking marks adorn the Laveau tomb wall. A plaque on the tomb reads, Laveau. Food, trinkets, and more unsettling things have been left at Marie Laveau's tomb as offerings from believers. Near the Laveau tomb is a piece of red brick, undoubtedly a cast-off from spiritual graffiti writers.
I want a copy of these strange marks.
The marks are reddish in color and remind Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least. The name Ross is inscribed on this old tomb.
My family's tomb is down that way, past the Ross tomb.
This tomb almost looks like a little house.
But I wouldn't want to live there.
New Orleans is famous for its above-ground tombs. The high water table prevents bodies from being interred underground. New Orleans is famous for its above-ground tombs.
I don't need to go visit the family tomb today. Malia?
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
Unnoticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else...
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
Whatever for?
I can't stop thinking about you. I've been in your thoughts too. I can see it in your eyes.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that a million times myself, but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you got more money than God. Do you think I care? Do you think that's why I'm saying this?
No, I don't.
Why don't you come see my world? I've got a little bookshop, St. George's on Bourbon.
I know.
See, I knew it. You're crazy about me too. Come by tonight. Please? My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Damn it.
Two heavy, solid marble doors provide an entrance to the tomb. An angel draped dramatically over a stone plinth marks the entrance to a large tomb. Two enormous vases flanked the front of the Getty tomb. A stone angel leans down to gaze at something unseen. The old man is apparently doing some cleanup work.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah? What can I do for you?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
They say it was part of an old religion from Africa, brought here by slaves.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I don't really care to talk about it. I don't do it none myself.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Isn't it just awful, them finding those bodies with the voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody trying to cover their tracks is all.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I told you all I know about that.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Seem like everyone wants to visit New Orleans at least once in their lives. And they love the cemetery tours. I see tourists in here every day of the year.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
There are lots of things to see here, but none as beautiful as St. Louis Cemetery number 1.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
If you want to know more, you should ask someone else.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? I see snakes around here all the time. Most of them aren't poisonous, of course. I don't mind snakes myself, but lots of folks are afraid of them.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I told you all I know about that.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
Well, St. John the Baptist is the patron saint of voodoo. Sometimes we get weird goings-on in the cemetery on that night. More often on a few nights before. People taking grave dirt, bones, and who knows what.
That's pretty disgusting.
Yep. Don't know what they do in them, but it can be pretty.
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
I told you all I know about that.
Do you have any idea what Capri Saint-Call means?
Nope. Can't say that I do.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Sure. She was the voodoo queen of New Orleans, a powerful voodooienne and a powerful sorceress. Believers still come to her tomb, you know. They write secret marks on the walls, leave offerings. Then there's the tourists. They come out of curiosity. As a matter of fact, that big Dr. John fella from that voodoo museum, he's here at least once a day. But Marie Laveau's tomb isn't the only one the believers visit and make markings and leave offerings at.
What else can you tell me about Marie Laveau?
Her tomb's on all our tours. Even the Baptists come round here to gawk. Of course, you may not know this, but some of the real serious voodoo types argue that she ain't in this one at all, but down in the unmarked tomb in number 3. It's all the same to me, I say. Saved me a lot of cleanup work if she weren't here, if you ask me.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hound fall?
I don't know nothing about that.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? I've seen lots of voodoo markings in this cemetery. I've seen graves dug up and stuff you don't want to know about stolen from them. But voodoo? Black voodoo? Sounds like a devil of a distinction, if you ask me.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
I told you, it's all one to me.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tell me about yourself.
My name is Toussaint Gervais. I'm the watchman here at St. Louis No. 1.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, I keep the place tidy, of course, but a big part of my job, too, is looking out for the grievers, you know. People come to pay their respects, and they need looking out for. Sometimes they so grief-bound, they don't know what they doing.
Tell me about yourself.
That's about all there is to say.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, No. 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins will float right out of their graves. Ha! Them dead will go floating right down into the Calder. Of course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice. It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War. Back further, too. Take a look around. You'll see.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, No. 1.
Just look around. You'll get to feel the place.
You said there were other mock tombs?
Yep. I've seen bull hearts left on tombs and a nest of vulture feathers, plates of peas and congreve, animal parts, human parts even, it looked like. Male parts, if you get my meaning. And this is one of the great family crypts, mind you. Odd how them types just pick a spot and stick to it.
What other tombs got marked? Can you show me?
No, I ain't one for naming names. I don't like to encourage that kind of thing. It's distressing to the families, and rightly so.
You been working here a long time?
Longer than you've been alive, son. I mayhaps be here longer than you'll be alive, for that matter.
Kind of a quiet job you got, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah. They act up some at the full moon, though.
You must enjoy the company of dead folks.
Unlike the living, they ain't never given no reason to dislike 'em none.
How's business today?
About like every day. It's what you call a seller's market.